Hello, thanks for joining me. We're going to be doing lower body strengthening today. So we're going to be starting in a seated position, doing our breath work there, and then moving on to some work on the floor, some standing postures, and then we'll come back to the floor for our relaxation at the end. So you're going to need a couple blocks. You may want to have a cushion and pillow for a seated position, whatever will make you comfortable in your seated position. You also may want to have a blanket or a pillow for the end of class for relaxation, and just get everything nearby and lined up so that we can get started. So find a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. It could be a seated position on the knees with a pillow between the hips and heels. It could be a cross-legged position with padding underneath you so that you can sit up. The most important piece is that your lower spine has the lumbar curve in it. So we want to be able to sit tall and feel a little inward curve here. So if you feel like you're rounding quite a bit forward, you might want to prop up a little higher so you can get taller. From this position, we're just going to focus on the breath for a little bit, get it flowing and moving. So bring your hands to your lower belly and allow the breath to move this part of your body. Exhale, pull the abdominal muscles in. Inhale, expand the belly out. Imagine that you're filling up a balloon. As you inhale, it's expanding, going down here into the hips and pelvis, and then starting to move up into the upper abdomen. When you exhale, squeeze everything in and release, and then fill again. So you want that balloon in your abdomen to start rising up and up with the breath. So it's like each breath is growing longer and filling up more of your body. So expanding up into the lower ribs. We're making what's called a three-part breath. So it's filling all three parts of the lungs, the lobes. The breath looks like a wave in the three-part breath, filling lower, middle, and upper. And then releasing upper, middle, and lower, squeezed in last. So feel this breath now flowing like a wave. Imagine it washing through your body and washing away tension, washing in what you need, nutrients, oxygen, spaciousness. We all need a little more spaciousness, right, in our lives. It's hard to make it outside of ourselves, so we have to make it inside. Good. Now that the breath is deep and flowing, let's pick up the pace just a little bit. Using the muscles of the ribs and abdomen like an accordion, expanding and contracting. And the next time we breathe in, we're going to hold the breath. So go ahead and sip in breath all the way to the top. Sip in a little more. Drop your chin to your chest and hold. You might feel a little pressure or lightheadedness, warmth, tingling, maybe a feeling that you need to release. See if you can just tell yourself you're safe and bypass that feeling. When you're really ready to let go, just sigh the breath out. Return to the natural breath. We'll do a round of bellows breath. So again, picking up the pace over the next minute. So it's still your long, deep three-part breath. But now we're going to go a little faster each time we breathe in. Ideally, we're going to be moving as quickly as we can by the end, but without losing this deep breath. A little faster. And as fast as we can. Last breath in and out. Press out all the air and hold it out. Sit up tall. Hug the belly in and up. When you need to take a breath, just breathe in a little bit. Just enough to feel comfortable, and then pause again. Close your eyes and go inside. Feel the internal universe. You might feel the rhythm of your heart. And then whenever you need to exhale or breathe in again, just do so, but just a little bit, just enough to be comfortable, and then be still. We're looking for those pauses, those quiet places between the breath where there's no movement. And then return to the natural breath. And we're going to take this long, deep breath into our movement today. So as we go into postures, make sure that the breath is the beginning of the movement, that the breath is supporting the movement, helping you to expand or contract, to forward fold or backward bend, to lift or lower. So the breath is the basis of our practice, so that we're breathing fully for the rest of our practice, that we're using the breath to help us clear out the body and expand and open up. So let's go into some warm-ups for the lower body. We're going to come into a table position. And in this table position, we're just going to warm up the ankles. So lift your feet off the floor and do some circles. Circling in the other direction. 3 of each, and then point and flex, point and flex. If your knees are tender, you could always place a folded blanket or a pillow underneath your knees. Good, and then toes curl under and set them down. So we're going to rock a little bit forward and back. So letting the knee joints warm up, the hip joints warm up. So we're moving our hips back towards our heels, and we're moving our hips forward towards our hands. And each time maybe you'll come a little bit farther. So make sure that low back feels safe, that hips feel safe, that knees feel safe in all these positions. And now we're going to take the hips in circles. So spread the legs a little wider and make a great big circle. And feel that rotating up into the socket of the hip. You might even find a place that feels like a little bit of a stretch. And you could pause there and enjoy that stretch. Try it out on the other side, and then continue with your circles. When you feel ready, you can switch direction of the circles, or you can go back and forth between them, going in one direction and then into the other right away. Allow these to become really big or really tiny. Allow them to move into a little side stretch, whatever would feel good, just getting the lower body to warm up with blood and movement. And then coming into stillness here in the center. We're going to take the hands and step them one more step in front of our normal position of table, and then drop the hips forward and then reach the hips back. So just as we were doing, we're going to add the breath. So inhale to center is inhale, and then reach forward or back as exhale. So inhale here, exhale here. Inhale to table, exhale here. Good. And last one. Right to table, knees walk a little bit closer again. Go ahead and sit back onto the heels. And we're going to come into a lunge from this position. And so reach forward with your right foot into a lunge, and we're going to rock forward and back. Arms can be just relaxed down by your side, or if you want, they can rest on the front knee. Again, if you need padding under that back knee, make sure that the knee feels safe, okay? Because we're going to be here for a little bit. All right, settling into that lunge, making sure the knee is right over top of the ankle, that it's not coming forward in front of the toes. Good. From this position, we're going to try and press upward. So we're going to curl the back toes under. Hands can stay on the leg or onto the hips, and we're just going to try and press up. It's a little bit of a balance here, so the first few times might feel a little rocky, and that's okay. You're going to go up and down 3 to 5 times if you can, and then we're going to land right back down on the floor. Good. You can straighten that front leg a little bit. Good, and we're going to try and lean down over the leg. So at this point, you may want blocks, or you may not. Depends on how your body's feeling today, and each day it might be different. So if you'd like to put the blocks right beside you, you can reach down and straighten the leg. And then from here, you can choose to point or flex your toe. Doesn't matter which, either is fine. Just keep it in one position to start out, and we're just going to hinge forward. Reaching the torso down over the leg, feeling the stretch in the back of the hamstring. Coming up to breathe in, lengthening the spine, and then exhale, come down and round forward. And then whichever you've chosen, pointed or flex, switch, do the other one. Flex toes are pointed now, the opposite, and coming down again. Feel if the stretch feels different this time. And after 2 more exhalations, folding forward into the stretch, we're going to hold for a few breaths. So we've been testing out the stretch, and now it's time to relax into it. If the hands can reach the floor, that would be fine. Relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders down. Keeping your quadricep lifting up so that the front of the leg is strong and engaged. Lifting your torso back up onto your blocks if you would like. And then we're just going to rock the whole foot side to side. So keep the toes flexed, and drop the whole foot side to side, and feel how that makes your tail, as if you had a tail, your tail wiggle a little bit. So you're actually rotating the hip right in its socket. So the movement is coming all the way up to here. Good. And then pause, bend that front knee again, come back through your lunge. Great. You can set your blocks away out to the side. We're going to try a twist here. So we're going to take your left hand, reach it up to the sky and cross it over your body to the outside of the leg. Other hand comes around behind and try and grab onto something. It might be your pants, your shirt, your hip, and come into a twist here. Torso's upright. Shoulders are pulling back behind you. Chin is lifted, and then you can turn into the twist if it feels safe for your neck to do so. Take a deep breath, try and expand something here. And then as you exhale, relax. Let the arms relax. Less pulling and more twisting from the center. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Twist. Feel the twist coming from the lower spine first. And then release the arm and twist back to center. Good. We're going to use the blocks and slide this foot back behind us. Good, down below. Other foot slides forward. Rock forward and back in your lunge. Your hands can be resting on your side or resting on the front knee. We're testing out the lunge, seeing if our body feels safe and comfortable, seeing where is a good place to rest in this lunge. So when you come forward, find that place. Knee stacked right over ankle. And we're going to curl the back toes underneath. And we're going to try to press up again here. So just lifting off the back knee, pressing it straight and up off the floor. If that doesn't feel safe, you can just engage the leg and not lift up all the way. So you can just lift the knee a millimeter off the floor or ½ inch off the floor. Good, trying that 3 to 5 times and then coming back down. You can reach for your blocks and we're going to rock a little forward and back and come into a straight-legged position. In a straight leg, choose pointed or flexed. And we're going to pause here and hinge forward. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Choose your foot position in the opposite direction, so they're pointed flexed or the reverse. And begin. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forward. And now you're going to relax down and just hold the stretch. Dive into sensation. Feel where that energy is, where the body is holding. And see if you can breathe so deeply that it gets that area that's so tight to move just a little bit with your breath. And then slowly lifting up out of this, using the support of your blocks if you need to. Flex the toes and drop the whole foot side to side again so that you're wiggling your tail. So toe is flexed, foot dropping straight from one side to the other. Good. And then pause here, bend the front knee again. Good. We'll come into the twist on the other side. So now you can see it from this side. Reach up, arm crosses over, right arm is across the left leg, and your hand reaches behind, grabbing onto something. It could be your hip, it could be your waist. So begin the twist from the inner thighs. Squeeze them together like scissor blades. Feel the twist starting there and then moving up through your spine. Take a deep breath in and twist a little farther. Find a way to breathe and relax something, maybe just the arms a little bit. And then slowly release, turn the torso back to center. Go ahead and slide the left foot back to meet the right. And we're going to take that block and put it right in between your inner thighs. Good. So in this position, we're just going to squeeze the block in, and we're going to rock a little forward and back. This is a good quadricep builder and inner thigh strengthener. When we strengthen the inner thighs, we actually strengthen the muscles that rise up deep along the spine in the lower abdomen. So we're getting the core muscles to engage. And when we do that, we get our core strength to build. So this is a great position. If you want a little bit more work, you can bring the arms up in front of you. So the torso stays in one straight line, tailbones tucked under, abdominals are in, inner thighs squeezing. Good. You might even feel the legs shake here a little. Let's hold and just feel that. Nice strong quadriceps. This is the same feeling we should have in the thighs when we're standing. Good. So release the arms down, bring them behind your back, interlace the fingers. Let's take a few shoulder circles. We're going to be moving up to standing now. So we're going to take that feeling of the block between our legs and use it in some standing postures. So if you have socks on and you feel like you need a little bit more grip for your standing postures, you can go ahead and take your socks off now. If you're on a rug and you feel like you need a sticky mat, you can put that into place. And we're moving right up to standing. I'm going to bring you with me. Okay, here we are in our standing position. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see my body mechanics a little better. We're going to start in our mountain pose. So feet spread hip width apart, toes fanned out wide, knees slightly bent, tailbone tucked under, belly muscles hugging in. Torso is growing long while the feet sink down into the floor. Then we're going to lift the arms up out to the side and up overhead. A few sun breaths. Inhaling till the arms reach overhead. Exhaling back down. Feel the breath a little differently here. The lower abdominal muscles are supporting your strength, so there's less room for breath. So the breath moves up into the chest. Feel that. Your rib cage is also getting a stretch with the arms, so it expands the breath out into those spaces. Good. And now we're going to stretch a little bit side to side. So take one hand into the hip, inhale the other arm up, and push into the hip, reaching up as tall as you can through this side of the body. Squeeze the inner thighs, keep the knees slightly bent, and feel that strength coming up through your core to support you. Inhale back to center and exhale the arm down. Other side, hand to the hip, inhale the arm up. Grow tall and exhale. Keep the core strong, inner thighs squeezing in so that the outer lines of the body, the sides, can stretch. Inhale back to center. Good. We're going to sit down into our imaginary chair. So the hands can either slide down the legs as you sit the hips back. You want to be able to look down and see the toes, so knees don't come too far forward. You're sitting back into your chair. And your arms can lift up as you do that. Or if you want more work, they could lift overhead. If that feels awkward in your body mechanics, you can keep your arms resting down by your side or sliding your legs. So whichever position you choose. After one more, we're going to hold here. So sit down into your imaginary chair and hold. Find a way to breathe. Keep the inner thighs squeezing for strength. Come all the way up to standing. Reach the arms around behind your back and interlace your fingers. Press the knuckles away to open the chest. And then let's hinge down just halfway. Pause here and pull back up to standing into your imaginary chair. Pull the shoulders back and down, stand up. One more time, hinge forward, halfway down. Good. Sit down into your imaginary chair. Pull the shoulders back and stand up. Release the arms and bring them up overhead, growing tall. Exhale the arms down by your side. We're going to reach forward into a warrior position, and then we're going to be doing some movements from there. So put your blocks at the front of your mat and step to the back of your mat. I'm going to move the camera so that it can see down towards my feet a little bit more. And if you need to see you don't need to see any lower, but if you need to, you can look up here for leg positions. So my feet are spread wide apart in warrior. I'm going to take my hands to the hips, take one big step forward with my front leg. We want to try and have 2 straight legs in this position, okay? Knee caps are lifting up, so the front of the leg is engaged, and we're going to hinge forward and try and reach for our blocks. Coming down to reach the block. Good. Imagine that you could put a teacup on your back. It's nice and flat here. Good. And then from this position, we're going to round forward, getting a nice stretch through the leg, just like we did on the floor. And now lifting up and bending that front knee. Good. And we're going to lift up into our warrior from here. So coming back up into warrior. We visited this just a few moments ago, and we lifted up out of our lunge. Good. We're going to come into a twist here. So left hand comes forward across the body, right hand comes back, just like before in our lower position. We're going to inhale the arms up here. Good. And then we're going to hinge forward 45 degrees with arms like wings, like we're flying. Good. And I'm going to add this in. You might want to build up this. You might not do it right at first. But if you move your blocks a little bit forward and lean into it, you may be able to lift your back leg off the floor and reach it up as if you were standing on the wall behind you. This is a great inner thigh strengthener. As you squeeze the inner thighs together, helps you to balance here. And then bring the foot back, lift your torso up, back through your warrior position. Good. And then we're going to push and try and pop ourselves back to our standing mountain. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, hands to the hips. Great big step forward with your left leg. Both legs are straight. Hips are pointed straight forward like they're headlights. Good. Reach forward with a long spine and try and reach for your blocks. Good. Rest a teacup on your back so it stays steady, and then relax down, getting a stretch in the whole back on the left side. Lifting up to your flat back. Now bending the front knee and then lifting the torso. If that doesn't work for your body, you could lift your torso first onto a straight leg and then bend the knee. So whichever feels more natural to you. Good. Inhale the arms up. Shift the weight into the back leg and then bring your right hand forward, cross your knee, left hand behind you for your twist. Good. Inhale back up. Good. Hinge forward 45 degrees. Bring your wings out to the side and expand them. Good. Hands come back down to the floor. This time step the back foot to meet the front. Lengthen the spine. Sit down into your imaginary chair. Lift the arms up. And then come all the way back up to standing. Good. Exhale the arms around behind your back one more time. Take a few circles with the shoulders. Good. And we're going to come back to the floor. Great. Release the arms. Give them a little bit of a shake. Good. And from here, we're going to come into our table position again. And we're going to do a little bit with the legs. Now that everything's warmed up, we're going to take a downward dog. So come to the floor in your table position. Look down at your hands, spread the fingers wide, inner crease so the elbow facing each other. Curl the toes under, and then lift the hips up. Good. Push the hips back, extending the torso, relaxing the neck. You can even pedal the feet, so one heel presses towards the floor and then the other. Good. Upper body strengthener, but also good for the lower body. Stretching the back of the legs. And lift up high into the heels. Hug the navel in towards your spine. Hollow out the belly. Keep that hugged in. Bend the knees deeply. And then push the legs back while you lift the tailbone higher. Your full extension of down dog. Heels pressed towards the floor. We're going to come forward into a plank position just for a few moments. So we're going to try and even the body out, one straight line from heels to shoulders, and then right back into our down dog. This is a great full body strengthener. Imagine that you're squeezing your inner thighs in here, hugging your belly in, and that is what's supporting you. It's not the strength of the upper body, it's the strength of the lower body. One more time, take your break in down dog. Again, you might have to build up to this. You may want to do one of these, and then next day add on 2, next day 3. Good. Sit your knees back onto the floor and come back into a child position. Support yourself as needed. So forehead can come to rest on a block. There can be a cushion between the hips and heels. Just figure out what your body needs so that you can relax and release here. And feel the breath in the back of the body. You can actually feel that area lifting with your breath. The front of the body is contracted in child, so the breath is forced into the back body and begins to open those spaces between the ribs. And slowly release the child position, come into seated position. We're going to do a round of Kapalabhati here. So make sure that you're comfortable. If sitting on the heels doesn't work, you could always stick a block between your legs and sit on the block. Or you could come into a cross-legged position for this. Whatever would feel most supportive and is a seated position is totally fine for you. So remember, Kapalabhati is a strong expulsion of the abdominal muscles, and it's such a powerful breath because it really is like doing sit-ups. It's contracting the whole abdomen, it's pulling up the pelvic floor, and when we pump the belly with this strong, forceful exhalation through both nostrils, we're increasing metabolism, so it can help you to lose weight. We're increasing the fire in the body for cleaning the channels of the upper body. It brings energy from here all the way up. It can clear the sinuses, clear the lungs, and in that way strengthen those systems of the body to protect against disease. So it's a powerful breath. Imagine a bug flew up your nose and you're trying to get it out. We're going to continue with these pulsing breaths, and then I'll guide you through a series of holdings. Feel the breath coming from down here. Exhaling fully. You might feel it work out in your belly, like it's been doing sit-ups and it's getting tired. Take a long, deep breath in. Exhale all the air out, empty out completely, hug the belly in. When you're empty, sit tall and feel like your belly has been vacuumed out. Hold there till you need breath, and then inhale. Expand the chest, expand the abdomen, drop the chin to hold the breath, and pull up the pelvic floor like you're sealing the ends of your container. Belly is soft and open, energy can flow through here and open, heal, balance. And release the breath. That practice can be added to any of our postures. If you feel like you need a little more energizing, or you need a little more heat in your body, or more invigoration or a stronger workout, you can add that breath work to anything, to your warrior position, to your Utkatasana or chair position. You can add it to your sun salutations at any point. You can take a pause and do that. So it's a great breath practice to add in when you need more invigoration, more energy, more weight loss, more fire. All right, we're gonna come up onto the knees one more time. And we're gonna be moving into a couple of different seated postures. So the first one we're gonna go into is a gentle back bend. So we're gonna come onto the knees and we're gonna practice that same inner thigh squeeze and leg strengthening that we did before. And here, you're gonna put your block down on the floor, just right beside your shin, so that you can reach back for it. So it's gonna be starting out like a side bend. We're gonna reach for the block. If that feels comfortable, you can move it back a little bit and it moves towards a back bend. And so we're gonna be reaching side to side for our blocks. So one block on each side. Good. Squeeze the inner thighs, tuck the pelvis, tailbone drops down. Reach over to your side. Good, get a little side stretch here. Other arm reaches up and circles around. So the inner thighs are working and the quadriceps are working with the squeezing action of the legs. So legs are building strong here, even though we're using that energy to circle and open the upper body. Good, let's switch sides. Squeeze the legs, inner thighs come towards each other. Good, and then reach through the side body. Good. And back to center here. If you want, you can try one more step back, a little bit farther. Reach, and then just lift. Try and grow tall. And if it feels comfortable, drop your chin back. Come to the other side. Tailbone tucked, inner thighs squeezing. Reach that block back a little farther. Grow tall, drop your chin back. Good. And back to center. We're going to come to the floor in a seated position. If you would like, you can sit on a cushion or a bolster. We're going to be bringing the legs straight out in front of us. So we've done some good forward folding and warming of the legs. And now we're just going to see if we can hinge forward. But imagine you still have that block between your inner thighs. We can't have it there because we're going to lean forward. But put it in there for a moment and just squeeze. Flex the toes, quadriceps pulling up and strong. Squeeze the block. If there's pain or tension in the low back, maybe prop yourself just a little bit higher to start out. And we're going to start just by leaning forward. Hands are reaching forward along the legs. Good. We're going to try and grow tall with our breath and then hinge a little more forward with our arms. If you'd like this to be more of a workout, you can reach the arms up and use that weight of the upper body to help you hinge forward. And then reach your arms down as far as you can. You can reach for your shins, you can reach for the ankles, or reach for your toes. Whatever you reach, then just allow your torso to relax a little bit more. Breathe and see if you can melt something. Slowly come back up. Take your left leg in and you can bring it out to the side, sole of the foot here, or if you have the flexibility, you can cross it over the other leg and then you can try and press that knee down to the floor. If it doesn't go all the way down, you can rest it on the block. That's fine. And then we're going to try and hinge forward again. So inhale the arms up. Go for length at first, reaching forward. Inhale is a lengthen and expand. Exhale is a relax and hinge. Reach the arms forward for something, grab on, and fold a little bit more. Good. From this position, just grab that foot, whether it's inside, laying inside the thigh or up on top, and just take this and circle this a little bit. So we're going to try and get into that hip flexor. Good. And then we're going to switch legs. So straighten that leg out. Other one comes in, sole of the foot to the inner thigh, and you can rest on the block, or cross over, ankle over thigh, and you can rest on the block, unless it comes all the way down to the floor, and then you don't need it. From here, reach the arms up, grow long and hinge forward. And then let your arms extend down. Notice now this is your third forward fold. See if anything's different. See if it's easier to move forward and melt on your third try. The body resists and wants to stay in our typical patterns. But with repetition, it slowly starts to soften. It says, oh, I remember that. You can do that. Next time it says, oh, I remember that. Might feel a little tight, but it softens a little more. Third time might be the charm, where you soften in and something melts. Coming back up, picking up that leg, giving it a little circle. Great. And now we're going to try and bring both feet together in a bounding position. So you might need to prop yourself higher for this one. You can sit up on a block if you need to, or a block with a pillow on top, or the other way around. Soles of the feet come together here. And we want to try and get the knees to drop out to the side evenly. So you're going to have to take a little internal check. Are your sits bones both grounded on your cushion or block? Then maybe place one hand on each knee. As you can see, for me, I'm a little lopsided. So I'm going to try and push this knee down. And if I need to, I'll hold this knee up to find that balancing point. Our bodies aren't symmetrical, although we think they are. So we have to learn to balance it out. This side for me is always going to need a little bit deeper stretch than this side. That's because my pelvis is a little bit off. We all have these small misalignments that yoga can help to realign, but first we have to notice what the pattern is. So put your hands on your knees and see if you can feel the difference. Maybe there's more resistance on one side than the other. And then try and grow tall. Flap your knees like butterfly wings. You can hold on to your feet or your ankles or even the shins, whatever would feel comfortable here. After you flap, then isometrically press those legs down. Notice if there's one leg you need to work on a little more than the other. And then try and use the strength of your arms to pull yourself forward. And now take some deep breaths here. Now we're going to slide the feet out. They've been tucked in to the groin. We're going to move them out about 8 inches to 12 inches. And now we're going to take that same position. Press the soles of the feet together. Try and even out the hips. And then let's try and hinge forward. See if this is different. There may be more spaciousness here, or this one might be more difficult for your body. But whatever you find, try not to judge. Try to relax and just feel. The magic of yoga happens when we can breathe, relax, feel what's going on in our body without judgment, and allow it to make change. And it truly can make what was impossible possible if we follow that formula. Breathe, relax, feel, watch, and allow. Melt yourself forward. And then slowly make your way back up. Straighten the legs out. Give them a little bit of a shake. Good. We're going to be lowering down onto the floor and completing our practice there. So we're going to do a bridge posture, and we're going to place this block under for a supported bridge. So push away any cushions, lie flat on the floor. Bring your arms down by your side. Start to press into the soles of the feet and lift the hips up off the floor. Let's follow that a few times. Inhaling up, expanding the breath, and then coming back down, rolling the spine onto the floor. And on your third lift, I want you to slide your block underneath. It could be this direction, or possibly this direction. That's quite a bend, so for most people that's not comfortable. It's usually the middle one that they settle on. Good, let your sacrum rest there. And if you feel like you can, bring one leg up and then follow it with the other. Legs are straight. Energy is flowing back down to the center now. Our inversions are so important because they shift the energy flow, they shift the blood flow, they shift the lymphatic flow in the body. And all that gets to pool in the upper body, where usually the body has to work hard just to pump the blood back up to the upper torso. So here, the upper body, the brain, nervous system is being flooded with blood and fluids. The breath is more spacious. You can see my belly easily expanding with breath here. So inversions are what keep us young. They call them age-defying postures. You've heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, an inversion a day does even better than that. It keeps you young and healthy. Good, we're gonna end our practice just with one last stretch. So your straight leg, one leg is gonna come down to the floor, sole of the foot on the floor. The other leg is gonna come down slowly straight. Then try and bring it down as far as you can. Feel that stretch here in the hip flexor. After all that work in the legs, it's good to stretch out the hip flexor. Great. And then go ahead and switch, bring the leg back up. If you have the time, you could do a few leg lifts here, another good strengthener, using those flexor muscles here and getting a gentle back bend on the way down. And then we'll switch, other side. And slowly lower the leg down and get your hip flexor stretch. You can stay here, or you can finish with your leg lifts on the other side. And then I'd like you to just slowly make your way onto your back, removing the block from underneath you and relaxing down. Notice if there's anything else that you feel like your body needs. We go through all of these postures, but in the end, it's our own wisdom that tells us what we need. So if there's any movement that just feels natural or intuitive that would make you feel complete, do that. And then settle down in for relaxation. Take 5 or 10 minutes to just receive the benefits of your practice, to allow the fluids of the body to settle and return to normal, to allow temperature to regulate. And you can complete your practice today with just a quiet meditation or Shavasana. And thank you so much for joining me for these leg strengthening exercises. I hope that you feel your strength building, and feel free to add in that more vigorous breath practice as needed, or do more repetitions with your practice in order to build your strength. Have a great day. Goodbye.